Thank you everybody for joining us today. We're going to give it a few minutes to get more attendees in. Make sure everyone's here when we're ready to go. Thank you. Hello everybody, thank you for joining. We're just going to wait a few more moments to get started. Okay, and with that, we will get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to the California Department of Transportation CT Career Connections. Today we'll be focusing on transportation surveying. Join us as we survey the path towards shaping California's future. My name is Megan Aziz, and I'm a recruitment analyst here at the California Department of Transportation. I've been with Caltrans for 1 year. My 1 year was up last month in March. Never been happier. And I graduated from Sacramento State in 2020 with a degree in anthropology. Kate?
Thanks for being here today. My name is Kate Soysap. I've been working for Caltrans since December of 2023, so I think I'm the newest person on our team. I come to Caltrans with about 15 years of human resources experience with other government agencies. And back in the day, I went to a very small liberal arts school in Texas, where I studied studio art and I minored in classics. So a little different.
Awesome. Thank you, Kate. Today's meeting is being recorded and live streamed on YouTube. If you would like a copy of today's session, please inform us during Q&A and we'll get that sent out to you. Today, we also have our subject matter expert, Mark Counts. Mark, if you'll please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Mark Counts. I am the Chief of Office Surveying Systems for the Headquarters Department of the Office of Land Surveys.
Thank you, Mark. On our agenda today, we will talk a little bit about our department, who we are, what we do, and the opportunities we offer in transportation surveying. Mark will give us some insight on his position, how he got started with Caltrans, and some of the cool projects he's worked on, past and present. We'll be getting into some of the benefits that are offered through the state, transportation surveying positions, and of course, how to apply to these. Finally, we'll finish up with a round of Q&A. Please wait until Q&A to ask any and all questions. We'll be sure to get to you. Our team will be placing helpful links in the chat as well throughout the PowerPoint. And the session is being recorded, so again, we can send you a copy of it when we're all finished. With that, we'll begin our session today with a quick video on our department and what it's all about.
And Megan, did the video stop?
It's frozen on our end.
Oh, it is lapsing as well now for me.
It froze on a great photo. It's the photo of the 360-degree visibility for a quarter mile.
Really?
Beautiful smiles, real bright hard hats, and those are fantastic safety equipment right there. I love those helmets. Those hard hats are fantastic.
Let me see. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, okay, we're just gonna have to skip through it. Technical difficulties and all. I'm glad it's a great picture for us to view.
It's a good one.
Okay.
And this happens. This is part of. We're going to talk about technology today, and this video is talking about technology, and nothing's perfect, even technology. So.
Very true. Thank you, Mark. So in our department, opportunities are statewide. Working with Caltrans allows diverse opportunities up and down the state of California. Whether you prefer the mountains of Lake Tahoe or Yosemite, rainwood forests, coastlines such as Big Sur, or in some cases, the comfort of your own home, like all of us speakers today. We have opportunities for you. Caltrans is split up into 12 districts, starting from the Oregon border that stretches all the way down to the Mexico border. Mark, are you currently working out of District 3 or headquarters, or have you worked anywhere else in the past?
So currently, I work for the headquarters office land survey. So we're based out of Sacramento. I live in a little suburb just outside of the city. But before I came up to headquarters, I did work out of San Bernardino in Riverside County, which is in Southern California, and we refer to that as District 8. And so I did quite a bit of right-of-way engineering work while I was there. I worked with the field surveys, the crews, the office processors, right-of-way agents, engineers, legal, environmentalists, sort of anything you can possibly think of when it comes to delivering projects. I was able to work with all those professionals down there in District 8.
Awesome. Yeah, and Kate and I are both located out of headquarters in Sacramento as well. And feel free to throw in the chat box, what district are you guys most interested in working in? We'd love to see your answers.
Megan, really quickly, there's a request that you stop sharing the video, so we can't see the slides right now.
Oh,
And then maybe if you,
how about now?
There we
perfect.
go.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay, so I see someone interested in working in SoCal in the Orange County, LA area.
Mm.
Bay Area. Oh, Luke Mendoza says districts 5, 7, 11, and 12. So lots
Okay.
different.
That's all of our Southern Californian locations.
Yeah.
Fun little fact for you guys, headquarters in Sacramento has the most employees. We have over 5,000 workers. This is followed by District 4 in the Bay Area and District 7 in the LA area with a little bit over 2,500. Our department's mission is to provide a safe and reliable transportation network that serves all people and respects the environment. Our vision is a brighter future for all of those through a world-class transportation network. Some of our goals include leading climate change, which we have been addressing by advancing complete streets and zero emissions project vehicles, piloting new materials and renewable fuels, and investigating nature-based solutions along with a multitude of other strategies. We also aim to advance equity and livability in all communities by adopting new approaches focused on collaborative community and partner engagement, measuring impacts on public health and community vibrancy. Okay, what's one thing that makes Caltrans surveying unique from other companies? Land surveyors play a key role in accomplishing Caltrans missions. Land surveying is a fundamental tool that all civil engineering work uses. Surveying provides the geospatial foundation and continuity for planning, design, property acquisition, construction, operations, and maintenance of capital improvement projects. Geospatial data includes, but is not limited to, roadways, layout, boundary, land descriptions, imagery, and this is a hard one, geodetic control data. I'm sure you know what that is, Mark.
Oh yeah.
Using the chat box, how many land surveyors do you think work for Caltrans?
Thousand, a whole bunch. Somebody says at least 5.
Oh, you're not wrong.
It's like the Price is Right, where if you go over, you're out, but if you stay under, you're good. 500, 600, 700, 7,000.
People are on the mark. The answer is
Wow.
465.
How many?
465 we have in California.
Nice. So
All right.
actually, I think the person that said 5 would have won if it was the Price is Right. Over.
With that, we'll turn it over to Mark. We'll discuss his time here at Caltrans. Mark, you ready to answer some questions?
I believe so. Yeah. Let's go
Awesome.
for it.
Awesome. What made you choose Caltrans?
This was a tough one when we were talking about the other day. I think right out the gate, the high quality professionalism. It Caltrans has a reputation of having high quality professionalism, and I didn't realize how the quality level that was until I got here. And so that was part of it. I wanted to be able to work with a professional team on professional projects. I wanted to be able to develop as a professional myself, and boy, were those expectations completely just knocked out of the park. And then diversity. You mentioned diversity a little bit earlier, Megan. Diversity of people, diversity of projects, and diversity of systems. So the systems are how we deliver our projects. And I worked in the private sector for probably a little over a decade before I got to Caltrans. And to this day, I've yet to see a private entity, no matter how large or small they are, that really compares with the diversity of people, projects, and tools here.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I worked in the private sector, kind of administration roles a few years before I landed Caltrans, and I can honestly say my experience has been amazing. Coming to the state, coming to Caltrans has just been an enlightenment in my life for sure. So I'm glad.
Me
I'm
too.
glad you. Yeah, I'm glad we share the same experience. Please discuss your experience with our department, how long you've been here, what makes you want to stay, and a some talk about some projects you've been working on.
Okay, sounds great. Let's see. I'm going to back up just a little bit to establish sort of, where I come from. So I've been in the practice for about 19 years. Just 1 year shy of 2 decades as a land surveyor here in California. And so, what I'm sharing from when I talk about private sector, public sector, I've worked for big companies, small companies. I've done a startup. I've worked for a county agency, and I've worked for the state agency. So I've got a little bit of flavor from all the different sectors, right? So that's part of my background. Also, fun fact: I ended up going back to college, and I got an English degree. So I felt like I needed to kind of round myself off. So I had all the mathematics and science and all that stuff taken care of. So I've got an associate's in science for field surveying, and an associate's in science for surveying and mapping, and then I have a bachelor's in arts for English literature. So we can talk about trilateration, and we can talk about Macbeth, right? Whatever, whatever floats your boat. Um, but in all seriousness, one of the things, when it comes to my experience here at the department, what I've realized is everything that we do here is for people.
Mm.
It's for the public of California, and that's one of the things my English degree actually, I think, helped me develop as a human being is being able to recognize that connectivity. Everything that we do is done by people, for people, through people. Really, if we didn't have the people, why are we building bridges? Why are we building roads? Why are we trying to advance equity? It's all about the people here. So I think that's important because that is the lens through which I look at the world, right? I've been here at the department for 6 years, and since I've been here, um, this department's all about the people. It's about the people that we serve. It's about the people that work here, and it really is a people first organization. And I'm really proud to be part of an organization that cares so much about people, that cares deeply about people. So, like I said, I've been here for 6 years. I spent a little over a year in the district, down to District 8, doing right of way engineering work, which is a fancy way of saying we did all the boundary work, and then we helped navigate different sort of legal challenges, different project delivery challenges, making sure we had the right amount of land. A friend of mine likes to say, "Show me one thing of significance in engineer's design that wasn't designed on land." And then
Mhm.
someone might get smart with us, Megan, and say, well, the space station is in space. That started here too, right? A good
Mhm.
chunk of that was still built in a factory or in a lab that was on a piece of land. So uh, land surveying is a very old profession. It goes all the way back to ancient Egypt. They were called rope pullers back then, and they would reset the property corners as each season would come and the Nile would flood over. They'd have to come back and reset the property corners. Um, so, uh, so about my experience here, after about 1 year, I came up to headquarters and I got involved in new technologies. So a lot of the drones that you saw here, I was part of the early development of that. I think that technology took root about 5 years ago at the headquarters level when I came up. So I got to play with all the fun toys. And our the drones we use, we have a whole series of drones. So anywhere from a $2,000 quick flight drone to It could be up to about $500,000 for one drone package. But what that can do, it's got state-of-the-art SLAM technology, which is a high-level sensor technology for doing some of what we're calling digital as-builts. And I won't get too detailed here in the technicals, but Caltrans has a diversity of processes and systems, including drone systems. So that's been part of my experience here, developing the drone program with our peers. And then other things like mobile terrestrial LiDAR scanning. We saw a mobile terrestrial LiDAR scanning unit in that video. We're collecting 3 million points a second of data, traveling about 60 miles an hour. And we estimate, and we're in the process right now of overseeing a contract for trying to get all of the state's highway mapped like that. And it's going to be, we're estimating in the ballpark of about 10 petabytes. So if anyone doesn't know what a petabyte is, it's almost unimaginable. But the level of data that we're dealing with these days as land surveyors is we're starting to kind of cross the line into information sort of specialists, right? Data scientists. We're starting to cross and blur those lines. Other things that I do here at my current job at Caltrans, the job I've been in for the last 4 years, is I develop systems. So I'm in charge of all of our CAD systems, our geospatial processing systems. I support the visualization analytical systems, and so that's been a ton of fun. This all connects. We'll talk more about that project later, but it connects into being better stewards, right? We need to, if we're going to be better stewards of the assets we're entrusted with and the public we're entrusted to take care of, we need to be able to leverage technology in new ways to get more work done for less and safer. I think, is that enough for that question?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, cool.
absolutely. So, I know you shared what your projects you're currently working on. Yeah, lots of really cool technical information that, Mark, I'm gonna need to read some books to understand. But we love to hear it. And those who are interested in transportation surveying, I'm sure you'd understand the jargon, but my administration brain.
And that goes both ways. I'll call you when I need some HR outreach lingo, right?
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm also aware that you work with a community college to try and find pathways for students into transportation surveying roles. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. You want me to talk about that a little bit, or?
Yeah, just a little bit about it would be awesome.
You got it. We'll spend about a minute. So I run a surveying and mapping program out of Orange County. So that's in Southern California, in the District 12, if you want to put it in the district grid. And we are the largest surveying and mapping program in California. We have on average about 100 students in the program every year. It's we'll by the time this semester is over next fall, we should have about 90% of all of our content and classwork 100% online. So we're almost there. And so, yeah, the way it worked, Megan and Kate, I went through it myself over a decade ago. I liked it so much. I stayed on as an aide. I liked that so much. I took that step of faith and taught my first class. And I liked that so much, I just never left. So, so here we are over a decade later, and I'm still here. So I'm the department chair of the program. And our goal, so we're going to, talking about being a surveyor at Caltrans, one of the things that you need to be a surveyor at Caltrans is one of two things. You either need your to get to that entry level position at Caltrans, you either need your what's called a land surveying training certificate, or you need a 4-year degree in geomatics. And so, what the 2-year degree does, or even if we just take the certification, the 6 out of 7 classes will give you everything that you need to pass your LSIT. And so we've got students right now, they come in, they say, Mark, I want to do what you did. So they come in, they knock out their 6 classes, they knock out their what's called a fundamentals of surveyor's exam, their FE of surveying. They knock that out, get their LSIT, and boom. We just had we were talking, just 2 to 3 of our SEC students just got jobs throughout California that way. So they come in, get those 6 classes done, get their LSIT, and then boom, they're in the transportation series. And I know you're going to talk about this later, but it's worth mentioning now and do it again. I think you start out at about $75,000 a year. I know you're going to touch on that. I want to take your fire, but that's huge. Kind of show me a program where you can just spend about 18 months of your life, investing in yourself and coming out with a job that's over $70,000 with all the great benefits. So yeah, so that's what we do there. You know, Megan, can I also dip back a little bit to that last question? We talked about my experience, but can I talk about what makes me want to stay and
Absolutely.
what gets me all fired up? You know,
Absolutely.
when I'm talking to my students at SEC or whatever, there's just a lot of things. So I got to start with this. When I first came up to headquarters, I asked my interviewing supervisor, "Do you love your job?"
Mm.
And he said, absolutely. He said, first of all, no one's ever asked me that, but absolutely. And I said, well, tell me, what do you love about your job? And he sort of I couldn't get him to be quiet, right? Like he just kept going. And that's been my experience here. There's just so much interesting work, so many amazing people that you work with. So I got to start with what keeps me here. I love my job.
Mm.
It's an older reference, and I know they remade the movie, but Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it's when Charlie gets the golden ticket to go into this amazing candy factory, right? And that's my life every day here. Yeah, you get challenges. Sometimes you get frustrated. Again, it's everything's done by people, for people, and through people. The through people part sometimes can be frustrating no matter where you work, right? Because we're always trying to better understand each other, and we don't always use the same language. But overall, I love my job. I work with great people across the entire state. I get to travel in my position. So I was up in Eureka. Last week, I'll be down in San Bernardino. Next week, in 3 weeks, I'll be in San Diego. So you can get a position like that if you're in the field office. You'll be traveling all over your district. And so depending on which district you're in, like if you're in Bishop, that's District 9. Man, you're in for a treat if you like the outdoors, because you'll just be surrounded by it every day, all day. Some other stuff, what keeps me here is, I know you're going to talk about this, but the salary and the benefits, it's second to none. It really is. As a land surveyor in California, you are going to have a hard time beating the package that the benefits and salary that Caltrans offers a surveyor, especially a brand new surveyor coming out of college. And there's steps. I mean, there's so much room to grow here. So can't overlook that. I know when I was in my young 20s, Megan, I wasn't as concerned about health insurance, but guess what? Your young 20s turns into young 30s very quickly. And before
Absolutely.
you know it, you might be wanting to get married, possibly have kids, and that goes by like that. So to be in a position to, provide that I've got 3 kids, it feels really, really good to have high quality health insurance and things like that. I don't know if you want to add on to that or.
Yeah, I'm the child of state workers, and so the benefits that we'll go over them later, but the benefits I received growing up, I couldn't believe that, growing up and talking to some of my friends, they didn't have the same experience when it came to, healthcare and stability, that that my parents were never going to lose their job. It was one of the main reasons I wanted to work for the state as well.
It's incredible. Yeah, that security, job security, and my wife has terrible migraines, and so she gets fantastic healthcare. She gets taken care of so well. I just couldn't ask for a better setup. And I think the last thing that keeps me here, and this is really important for any student that's on the line or that might listen to this later, professional development is huge. Okay. Huge. You always want to be growing, and you want to be with an organization that's going to support and facilitate that growth. So just to give people a little bit of a taste of what that looks like at the Office of Land Surveys, and some of these trainings I actually administer myself. We give a whole week of DTM processing. So that's making fun models out of the shape of the earth and all the fixed works that get created. That's a full week, and we cover it all. It's no price to anybody. No price to anybody that's taken the class. They just come in as part of the team. We offer a similar week-long class for what's called COGO mapping. We offer all kinds of GIS training, geographic information systems training. We have geospatial training. So if you want to learn how to process GPS, control, do control networks, project controls, what you talked about earlier, the cadastral control stuff,
Mhm.
we will train anybody on this call. They come into the survey program. Like we're talking tens of thousands of dollars worth of training that we offer homegrown, and you get paid to go. Like it's mind blowing, right? Like when I first came to the state, someone said, "Hey, we got this week long training we want you to go to," right? But I just came from a small business that was the startup I was a part of, and I'm thinking, okay, great. Right out the gate, they want me to dedicate. They want me to, sort of sacrifice a week of my life, and they're like in hotels and rental cars, and I'm like, well, whatever. It's I'm willing to. And my boss says, "What do you? No, we cover it all."
Yeah.
You're like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, so you're gonna send me, you're gonna cover the training costs. You're gonna, at that time we're doing face-to-face stuff. You're gonna cover my hotel and a rental car. Yeah, like, what do you think you thought we are gonna make you pay for it all yourself? Yeah, that's what I'm used to, right? And so we can't overlook that. And that's not just surveying. If you're on this call and you want to get into engineering or construction or imagine HR, I've seen those HR things that we have so much, and then we have on-demand training like LinkedIn Learning. You get an account there. I mean, there's so much area for growth here. Not to mention, last thing, and then I told you, Megan, once you get me started, it's hard to keep me, to put a lid on you just tell me, okay, Mark, we're moving on. But the last thing is, as a surveyor, I was blown away when I got to District 8 because I think there were about 10 licensed surveyors just as part of one team in the office.
Wow.
Put that in perspective, most places I worked for like a team of say maybe like 20 or 30, you'd get maybe 2 licensed surveyors. So that's a factor of 5, right? That's pretty incredible. So your professional development also sort of hits this exponential growth chart because you're going to be surrounded by people that have been surveying for 10 15 years, some of them 20 30 years, some of them have been at the state for 15 20 years. And there's like I tell people this all the time, if you can make a Caltrans appraisal map look good and be complete, you can do any kind of map, any kind of map, because the appraisal map, in my opinion, is probably one of the most complicated, challenging kind of products to produce as a land surveyor. So if you get into Caltrans and learn how to make an appraisal map to a Caltrans quality standard, there is no map you can't make,
Mm.
guaranteed. And you got the professionals here to support you and mentor you as you go through these processes and learn, and almost through just immersion, you get access to hundreds of years of survey experience that I can't give them that in the classroom, right?
Mm.
And so that's just another huge, I think, benefit of being a part of the Caltrans survey team.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. You're a plethora of knowledge, and we've spoke on it a little bit. We're gonna move into benefits. Other than just the on-the-job training and information that you gather while working for us, we have some very good medical, dental, vision, retirement benefits. But most importantly, we have a really strong work-life balance culture, I would say, that I didn't experience in the private sector. For our we have and then also the mentorship and leadership training. We aim to create leaders, as Mark talked about, and provide employees with necessary knowledge to carry out their work confidently. Kate's going to go ahead and drop a link to the Cal HR salary and benefits page for your viewing. And the state, little secret is the state also offers student loan forgiveness through the U.S. Department of Education. For more questions about it and eligibility, please see the link that Kate is also going to drop in the chat box. There are some minimum qualifications for this one as well. Now, we have different steps within the transportation survey classification. Range A is considered entry level, with the minimum qualifications being bachelor's degree in surveying, surveying engineering, or surveying geomatics from an ABET accredited college. Or for those that Mark talked about this, whose degrees aren't on the list, a land surveyor in training LSIT or engineering in training EIT is accepted as well. This also shows that in order to get a Range D, a California land surveying license is required. If you are a current transportation surveyor with our department, we'll assist and cover the costs for the licensing. Upon insurance, your application fees will be reimbursed and your renewals will be covered by the department as an employee. We also offer an internal program for our employees called the Transportation Survey Academy. Since Range C is 2 years experience in Range B, or 3 years experience and a bachelor's, the establishment of our internal courses only requires current Caltrans surveyors 1 year to get the Range C. Let's say you've hit Range D and you've been here for a little while, but want to further your career. We have party chief, senior, and supervising surveyor positions available for our employees to advance into. As previously mentioned, we aim to create leaders, encourage all of our employees to progress and promote. So once you get in with us, there is going to be a pathway for you to get upward mobility. It's not like we want you stuck anywhere. We're going to pay for licensing. We're going to pay for additional trainings so that you can meet that pathway all the way up. So you might be asking the question, how do I apply? How do I get the job? The only way to apply to Caltrans or any other state agency is going to be through the CalCareers website. There's a 3-step process to help you apply. It involves creating an account, taking online examinations, and then applying. There may be relocation incentives for those who are thinking about moving from outside of California to a Department of Transportation California job. We're just tweaking. But it might not be available for all. For all current Caltrans positions, please see the CalCareers link that Kate's going to include in the chat. It goes directly to the CalCareers Department of Transportation. We understand that the application process is different for the state than it is in the private sector. Again, all of those applications have to go through the CalCareers site, but do not worry. We recently came out with something called a Career Compass Guide. This guide is a full look at the application process, from sourcing a position for you to the application, as well as tips and tricks that you may not have known before. It's an awesome tool that we help guide you guys in the right direction towards a new career with Caltrans. And Kate is also going to be putting that in the chat box for your guys' viewing. Thank you, Kate. Sure. All right. Before we start Q&A, if you have a question but you need to leave, you can email us at the email on the screen, and we'll be sure to reach out to you. But with that, please go ahead and start asking any and all questions for me, myself, Kate, and we'll do our best to answer them for you.
I have a couple already that have come in. I think they're mostly for Mark. So are you ready, Mark?
Sure.
All right. Someone would like to know, how would you compare the California DOT to other state DOTs in terms of scope of work, work climate, and career progression opportunities?
Sure. So I think in size of scope, the last I checked, the Caltrans survey program is, I think we are the second largest surveying firm in North America, not just America, North America. And so to have over 450 land surveyors on staff or land surveyors in training, it's all sort of combined. I'll put in the words of Utah's director, the DOT from Utah. One time he told me, Mark, I'd give one of my kidneys or like to have that many surveyors. It's just unheard of to have that many land surveyors as part of one program. We have over 90 crews, field crews. We have a budget of about between $2 to $3 million, just the rotational budget for technology, for field equipment, office equipment, just to kind of give you a scope of what we do. Now, I don't have those hard numbers for like DWR, CAL FIRE, but I do have approximate numbers. Like CAL FIRE, you're probably going to be, instead of having 90 crews, you're probably going to have maybe about 10 crews, somewhere in that ballpark. Okay. And again, I'm approximating just from my friends that I know over there. And same with DWR, you're going to have maybe about 20 crews, somewhere in there, approximation. So just to give you a scope of the Caltrans survey program. The other thing is Caltrans survey, as far as work climate goes, since we're a larger shop, we have an interesting work climate because with a larger shop but with a district orientation, I think you get a great blend of the benefits from a large enterprise organization, right? Like I said, we're the second largest surveying firm in North America. You get the benefits of being that size, but then you also get the home feeling of having a district. So I saw someone up put go to 5, 7, 11, 12. Notice those are all on the coast. So someone likes the beach, right? But what's great is each one of those districts, you go to 5, that's San Luis Obispo. I was there at end of last year, and that does have a very sort of like local beach kind of feel to it. You go into that office and it's got its own feel. the products look the same, but so what I'm saying is you have sort of this enterprise culture, but then you have these subcultures that are very much local. At least that's been my experience as I go to all the different. And if I go to San Diego, same thing. It's a very different feel. If I go to District 12 in Orange County, very different feel. But it still has the same enterprise level values where people come first. And so it's hard to get something like that at, say, like a Cal Fire or DWR, because they don't have that same sort of size of enterprise and even sort of like their local. But I've got great friends that work in those departments. So if you're interested in that, I'm not saying don't think about that, and I can put you in contact with people. But just to try to give you a comparison, last thing, career progression. You're going to find the same classifications in each 8-state agency. So you'll have what's called a TS, the Transportation Surveyor Series. You'll have the Senior Surveyor, and you'll have the Supervising Transportation Surveyor. But you won't have as many opportunities to promote up. So again, back to that enterprise size level. I think that's good for that one. Does that work at Akshems? Does that work?
Okay, next question we have again for Mark. Well, I guess lots of
can
people
try.
can answer this. Yeah. What was the most challenging learning curve when you started?
Okay. Yeah, I guess all of us could, because we all started at Caltrans,
We
right?
all
We can
started.
all. Yeah. Do one of you want to take a crack at it first?
I'll go first. Yeah, the learning curve for me was just kind of believing that I had all these opportunities, different training opportunities to go through, different pathways, different avenues. Coming from the private sector, my previous 2 jobs that I was in, I was, severely overworked, and I really did feel like I was doing the job of 3 people in one. And so when I got to the state and I started having a very healthy workload, um, I almost felt like I needed more. I need more. And it was no, it was like, this is healthy. This is the amount of workload like one person can take on. Now I am very busy,
Yeah.
but I'm not my the work life balance felt so strange at first. But at the end of the day, I'm just so happy. And then my management team, where there's always pathways for more training, more opportunity. Um, and at first you're like, oh, they can't be serious. Like, no, they are. Like, they want you to get as much information as possible. So I think that was a learning curve. Just trusting that it's not too good to be true.
It's a genuine opportunity. I think we were
Yeah,
talking about that, right? It's a real opportunity.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Kate, did you want to jump on that, or?
Yeah, I mean, just piggybacking on what Megan said, it's the same thing. Sort of adjusting to like a lot of people are using the phrase work-life balance and or life-work balance these days, and you know, they might mean it in theory, but less in actuality. So adjusting to a place where there is really a healthy respect for that. Employees definitely have, expectations placed on them. And I've not met anybody that isn't really great at what they do. But, you know, as somebody who comes from a human resources background, what I always say is we tend to forget about the humans in human resources. And as a human, I appreciate working somewhere where that is not forgotten. It's very much sort of on the forefront of how employees are treated and interacted with. So other than that, just there's a lot of acronyms in the state of California and in Caltrans, like on the internal side. And so figuring those out, like I think somebody was talking about DWR and like, what is that? I think it's the Department of Water Resources. So just sort of cracking the code of acronyms.
What
That was
I
my biggest learning curve.
Okay, so what I love about this, I had 3 things that came to mind. Number one is what Megan started with, work-life balance. My supervisor actually came up to me when I was and he said, "Mark, I've never done this, but I will write you up if you don't go home kind of thing, right? Like, because I was just used to know I gotta overproduce, outproduce. I gotta, I can't, I gotta learn this on my own time, right? And he's like, no, don't you have a family that you like? Like, get out of here, kind of thing, right? Like, we'll be here tomorrow, kind of, right? Your job's not on the line. So it's funny that Megan, you brought, and we didn't plan this. Anyone listening, by the way,
No, we didn't.
and then the acronyms. That was my second one. Was the acronyms, and so same thing. Actually, on my interview panel, one of the questions they had like 20 acronyms, and they asked the interviewees, which ones do you know, right? I think I got like 50%. Now I know them all, right? But I got like 50% in the interview or something. So that was my second. The third one would be there's so many. I don't know if this is how it is for you all in HR, but for surveying boundaries, there's certain things that are the same. Like boundary. You gotta sort of like when we put property lines together or boundary lines, it's kind of the same. But what Caltrans does with it is so unique and specific. Resolution of necessity packages, the all the processes and procedures that are in place when it comes to putting different types of products together. That's where it gets. I think from a technical standpoint, that was my most challenging is learning all the nuances of the unique packages and deliverables that you're not really going to be doing at a private surveying firm unless you work for Caltrans, unless Caltrans is one of your clients. So that would be my third thing. But I love how you both picked two out of my three. Is it the same for HR? Are there like things in HR like they're the same no matter where you go, but then when you get here, there's a lot of just Caltrans specific stuff too?
Definitely.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
A whole different language.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Yeah, it's its own language. Yeah.
All right, we got time for a few more questions.
Oh, let's see.
Something about IT. I saw something about IT.
Could you talk a little bit about opportunities in IT and information systems in the Department of Transportation and in Caltrans, please? Which Department of Transportation and Caltrans are one and the same. So, yeah.
That's a tougher one to speak to. That's a different division. For me, it's a completely different program. So I'm part of the project delivery program, and in IT is its own program. So I couldn't really speak to that personally.
We do have information technology uh, roles available. You can find them on the CalCareer site. It is something that is highly sought after, and it is the minimum requirements for it is only an associate's and work experience. So Caltrans does have opportunities in information technology for those who are interested.
All right, let's see. Somebody has a bachelor's in urban planning and a master's in transportation planning, and has specialized in GIS. What kind of positions would they be eligible for? That we can talk about sort of off. But are there any GIS analyst positions at Caltrans, and how essential is the fundamentals of land surveyor certificate? So I think, Mark, if you just want to speak to whatever you want to, but especially that last question.
Sure. Okay, so I think I didn't get a chance to speak about the project that I'm currently working on. It's sort of the way we're phrasing it is everything surveys does will be GIS by the time we're done. So we're building all kinds of new tools and systems. So every piece of survey data that gets collected or constructed, we're going to be moving away from sort of like a drawing mindset to a database mindset. So to the second part of that question are, how essential would having the fundamentals of land surveyor certificate be? If you want to get into the transportation surveyor classification, you either need that or you need a bachelor's in science that sort of meets the requirements. So essential if you want to get into the transportation surveyor series. Last I checked, I think the transportation surveyor series has a higher salary than the research data analysts. And so as a GIS person, you'd be coming in as a research data analyst, I believe. And so we do have RDAs. There's another acronym, research data analysis and analyst, right? We do have RDAs in the survey program, but their pay basically the sort of the pay tables are different, and you're going to sort of cap yourself on your growth, I think. They don't have that same sort of professional They just have it's a different structure, and it's, since they're not licensed, they're not part of the deep class. I don't know how deep we want to go into this, but you're not going to make it. In short, you're not going to make as much money or have as many opportunities to grow upward mobility if you go the GIS route, the way our classifications are currently structured. So hopefully that helps. So yeah, I would say get your LSIT, come over here. If you're a GIS guru, get your LSIT and come work for my office, because we're going to need a lot of GIS experts over the next couple of years.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. There were lots of great questions, and we're approaching time, so we just got to wrap it up. If you have a question that wasn't answered during today's session, please send them to our Ask Recruitment inbox shown on the screen, askrecruitment@dot.ca.gov, and we'll have somebody from our team reach back out to you. That marks the end of today's CT Career Connection session. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to meet with us. We hope you learned something new, or hopefully we sparked your interest in joining the Department of Transportation. Again, if you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us, and we hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday. Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.